Venture capital is more than just funding. It is a catalyst for innovation, economic growth, and the creation of world-changing companies. Without venture capital, many of the technologies and businesses we take for granted today, such as Google, Tesla, Airbnb, and countless others, might never have existed. But how exactly does venture capital drive innovation and entrepreneurship? To answer that, we need to take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Startups are fundamentally different from traditional businesses. A local coffee shop or retail store may grow slowly and sustainably. A startup, by contrast, is built to scale quickly, disrupt established industries, and often create entirely new ones. However, that level of ambition requires capital, and traditional funding sources such as banks are typically too risk-averse to get involved. That is where venture capital comes in. Venture capital firms specialize in backing high-risk and high-reward companies that have the potential to reshape entire markets. And they do more than provide financial backing. They support the entire startup ecosystem by betting on bold ideas and visionary founders. Some of the biggest breakthroughs in modern technology, such as cloud computing, artificial intelligence, biotechnology, renewable energy, and electric vehicles were made possible because venture capitalists were willing to fund ideas long before they were proven. Venture capitalists take risks on technologies that often seem impractical or even outlandish at first. Take SpaceX as an example. When Elon Musk proposed building reusable rockets, many traditional investors balked. The idea of competing with government-run space programs seemed too ambitious and too uncertain. But venture capitalists saw the potential, backed the vision, and helped turn SpaceX into a company that is now redefining space travel. And SpaceX is not alone. Companies like OpenAI and Neuralink, along with others working on frontier technologies, were also made viable through venture capital. Without this funding, many of these visionary projects would have remained stuck on whiteboards rather than becoming real-world innovations. Venture capital also played a critical role in developing the smartphone revolution, funding companies like Apple and Android-based manufacturers as they transformed how billions of people communicate. In healthcare, venture-backed biotech firms have delivered breakthroughs in cancer treatment, gene therapy, and vaccine development. The COVID-19 vaccine efforts, for instance, were accelerated in part by startups that had deep support from venture capital. In the climate technology sector, innovations in electric vehicles, solar power, and battery storage have enabled a global shift towards sustainability. Starting a company is one of the most uncertain and difficult decisions a person can make. Founders often leave steady jobs, invest their savings, and commit years of their lives to building something new. Without outside funding, many promising startups would never make it beyond the idea stage. Venture capital gives founders a financial runway. It allows them to focus on building and executing a vision rather than simply surviving from month to month. With venture backing, they can hire top talent, invest in technology, test go-to-market strategies, and expand into new regions without the fear of running out of cash in the early days. But venture capital provides more than money. Venture capitalists offer mentorship, operational guidance, strategic insight, and access to powerful networks. They help founders avoid common pitfalls, refine their business models, and scale effectively. In short, they act as partners rather than just financiers. This support is one of the main reasons founders seek out venture funding, even if it means giving up equity. The right venture partner can increase a startup's odds of survival and help it achieve exponential growth. The impact of venture capital extends far beyond individual startups. It ripples through the broader economy. Venture-backed companies do not just grow. They scale quickly, introduce new technologies, and create entire ecosystems of suppliers, service providers, and related industries. Think about what companies like Amazon, Uber, or Airbnb have done. They did not just disrupt logistics, transportation, and hospitality. They fundamentally changed how we live and work. Each successful startup becomes a node in a much larger web of job creation, tax revenue generation, and regional development. For example, Silicon Valley became the global center of innovation, largely because of venture capital. The model is now being replicated in cities such as Shenzhen, Bangalore, Berlin, and London, where venture-backed startups are transforming local economies and inspiring the next generation of entrepreneurs. Venture-backed startups are also among the largest contributors to net new job creation in many economies. According to numerous studies, while traditional industries may grow slowly or even contract, the startup sector consistently adds jobs at a faster rate, especially in high-growth and tech-driven areas. Venture capital has a unique compounding effect that few other funding models can match. As startups succeed, many of their founders, early employees, and investors go on to reinvest their earnings into the next generation of startups. Take Jeff Bezos, who, after building Amazon, began investing in other companies through his personal venture fund. Or Peter Thiel, who, after early success with PayPal and Facebook, launched the Thiel Fellowship to support young entrepreneurs. This kind of reinvestment, both of capital and expertise, creates a self-sustaining loop of innovation where today's successful founder becomes tomorrow's mentor, advisor, or backer. This multiplier effect ensures that knowledge, capital, and connections stay within the ecosystem, nurturing new talent and accelerating future innovation. Beyond economic growth, venture capital also fuels progress on a societal level. Many of the most transformative changes in our lives, including how we communicate, move, work, treat disease, and consume energy, have come from venture-backed companies. Venture capital is uniquely positioned to tackle global challenges that other funding sources avoid. In healthcare, it has helped develop life-saving therapies. In the climate sector, it has powered breakthroughs in clean energy and sustainable transportation. In education, it supports scalable tools that expand access to learning. In artificial intelligence and space exploration, it drives long-term projects that have the potential to reshape civilization. By funding progress, venture capital also influences public policy, workforce development, and even cultural norms. It brings bold and future-oriented ideas to life and ensures they reach the people and places that need them most. Of course, venture capital is not without its flaws. The model is inherently high risk, and most startups fail. This can lead to overhyped markets, speculative bubbles, and misallocated resources. When capital flows too quickly into unproven areas, it can distort industries and hurt long-term growth. There is also the issue of access. For decades, venture capital has been heavily concentrated in a few regions such as Silicon Valley and dominated by a relatively homogeneous group of decision-makers. This has created unequal access to capital, especially for underrepresented founders. However, this is beginning to change. The rise of global venture capital, diversity-focused funds, remote-first investing, and alternative funding models is helping democratize who gets backed and where that backing comes from. While not every venture-backed startup will succeed, the ones that do often generate returns that are so significant, both financially and socially, that they outweigh the losses and justify the risks. Venture capital may represent a small part of the financial world, but its influence on the modern economy and society is immense. It has helped create some of the world's most valuable companies, supported millions of jobs, and accelerated the technological shifts that define the digital age. Without venture capital, we might not have the internet as we know it, modern medicine, renewable energy infrastructure, or the tools that enable today's entrepreneurs. And as long as ambitious founders keep pushing the boundaries of innovation, venture capital will remain the fuel that powers the future.